Hello guys, it's John Messenger. Time to do another Bottleman video. This time I have Random Collection Volume 2. So I do actually have a full set here. Just see I have the other 4 right there. I'll be opening all of these individually. If you want to go ahead and skip around to maybe the review parts or even individual Bottleman, you can. I will have timestamps. So if you want to skip past kind of the unboxing, just looking at stuff in package, feel free to. So this first one here, let's just go ahead and get into it. We have some stickers. That is, I believe, Valhas DX, the original color version. Or no, it's the gold one, never mind. Okay, so, the gold version. Nice. Hold parts, caps, armor, and then the body and trigger and whatnot, so yeah. Very nice. Also, one thing to note is actually this comes with 3 caps, 2 to shoot, 1 for the arms, but even though this one is a blank cap, you're supposed to put both of them on the arms, which is weird, but sure, why not? Next one. Bottle Wyvern DX. Nice. The remake. Basically Doc Peppy and recolor that is themed after Bottle Wyvern. So here's the hold parts and caps. Instructions and stickers. Armor. And the core and trigger. Alright. That's everything. Next one. Okay, so this is the regular Valhas DX. Nice. That, instructions and stickers, of course. Just the armor, and the core and trigger. So yeah, you do get 2 exact Valhas DXs in here. They are the exact same outside of their color, which is interesting. Don't know how to feel about it, honestly, but yeah, sure, why not. Talk more about that in a bit here, but our next one up is going to be is this, I think, yeah, Arrowcider DX, the blue one. So there's the caps, hold parts, instructions, stickers, core and trigger right there, and the armor. And the last one must be the red Arrowcider DX, which, by the way, is probably the best pull in here if you are looking to play with these things. I will explain why later, but again, it is very, very good. So yeah, you can just tell by the stickers and instructions. This is Arrowcider, caps and hold parts, core and trigger, and then also the armor parts, and that is everything. So there you go, that is the full set. So yeah, that's something. Gonna have a lot of stuff to build and sticker. I'm gonna be at this for a while, but I will then get to the review stuff and talk about everything, because also we'll do some testings. Because all of these cores actually are kind of dual cores. They have the hold parts are not the same as kind of the actual core type, so pretty interesting. We'll talk about all that stuff in a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and get all of this sorted, and then I'll come back for the review portion. Alright, so I am back. I have all 5 of them all built and stickered up now, and have done testing for quite some time. So I'm now ready to finally get into all of these guys, and they're definitely something. So I guess we'll start off with the recolors. First up, Arrowcider DX, the blue version of it. So here it is. Make sure it's in focus properly. So here's Arrowcider. Honestly, the blue, yeah, no, it looks nice. I do like the blue quite a bit. Core is also a really nice color as well. Yeah, no, this thing looks great. It does have the same gimmick as normal Arrowcider, of course, with the side-to-side movement, which I think is just kind of eh. It's not hard to move a Bottleman on its own. Nothing stopping it from moving in other directions. It just works okay. However, this thing, in my opinion, is not about the armor, it is about the core. If you're just a collector, I don't think this thing is really that crazy, unless if you're just looking to get all of the different types of cores. And this technically does have a unique core, being a control core with power type hold parts. But overall, just kind of whatever. But if you are looking to use this thing, this is a very unique Bottleman, because it does have power type hold parts, of course with the access to a barrel being a control core. So what this does is, basically, when you shoot this thing, it just has kind of the typical drive shot, like from Arrowcider DX. And that does all fine and good, but what I think becomes more interesting is when you add a barrel onto this thing. A barrel will actually, well, of course, decrease the power a bit, but also it decreases the drive shot. Like, it doesn't spin as much, which is very unique. I didn't quite expect it to have that effect, but yeah, it actually lowers that by quite a bit. But still get a little bit of that spin, and you also still get a decent amount of power. This thing is literally just a better control type, in my opinion. That's all I have to say about this thing. It just is a better control type. Control type hold parts, in my opinion, are just not good. Control types as a whole suffer, I think, in Bottleman, because their whole gimmick is that they get access to a barrel, that's it. They don't have a ton of extra power, and also don't get magazines, which becomes a problem, in my opinion, because, like, okay, capacity is just such a massive deal, and also, if you don't have capacity, I think it's good to have power. And Bottlemen in general are meant to shoot straight. While obviously control types, as well as, barrels, improve that, it still just isn't enough, in my opinion, to justify using these. However, using this guy with a barrel, I think, was actually really nice. Because while it didn't have as much power as using it without a barrel, or in the spin shot wasn't as prevalent, both were still there, and it just was pretty powerful, had a little bit of spin to it, and shot straight. And I think that actually was kinda really nice, honestly. I think, that just worked very, very well, in my opinion. So, kind of something that I would recommend potentially getting. If you are looking to just mess with Bottleman stuff, and maybe you're just hellbent on using a control type, I would say this is the way to go, probably. At least for a core, if you want to use like a barrel and stuff. Very, very good in that regard, I would say. Well, maybe not very good, but still pretty good. Alright, it's time to talk about this one. Arrowcider DX Red version. This is the most broken-ass Bottleman I've ever seen. I'm just saying this straight up. It is ridiculous. Okay. I don't even know how to talk about this thing without just, praising it. So first up, has the power type hold parts. On a speed type magazine, it has power and capacity, because you can put a long magazine or any magazine on this thing, which is just ridiculous. I will say it does not function as a speed type. I would not recommend trying to rapid fire this thing. At least not crazy, not crazy fast. You can still fire decently fast though, but still. The fact that it is a power type, though, with extra capacity is just crazy. That is a huge help. And you also get access to the Arrowcider gimmicks from its armor set. Just take a quick look at this thing, kind of just in the typical grip mode that it's normally advertised in. Just take a quick look at it anyway, before we get into kind of the gimmicks and how everything works, and yeah. Okay, so the horn helps you to, find your shot. And by the way, everything in here is a multi-type. Just want to mention that now. So obviously Arrowcider DX was kind of power and control. This thing's everything in one. The core is power and speed, but all of the armor parts are control. This is a sight, which is very nice. Horn works like that. Also, you have a grip here, which can help you, move around. However, I feel like the grip is actually the least useful for this specific setup here. Well, obviously you can customize and stuff. Well, I'm just talking about the stock Bottleman, of course, but anyway. You can move around, but I think it's the least useful. I think actually moving into the stabilizer mode is going to be a little bit more useful overall. So let me go ahead and take this off. Take these off. And here's a look at it with no attachments, just kind of in base. There you go. Moving this thing over into the stabilizer mode, just going to take these off, plug them in. Of course, I already have gone over all of this in my Arrowcider unboxing from a few months ago, but just showing all the modes now because I do have some stuff to say about them. For sure. Definitely. So anyway. Put this like that. And then this will also plug in. If it would plug in, that'd be a big help, but it doesn't want to for me. Come on, you can do it. Or apparently not. Okay, sometimes this piece is very finicky, by the way. Like, I sometimes have problems with it, so let me just go and take that. And push that in manually, I guess. Anyway. And this thing just is not... There we go. Okay, finally. Sorry about that. That took way, way too long. Anyway. Might cut some of that out. I don't know how long that actually took, but anyway. So now you have the stabilizer mode. So in stabilizer mode, it looks like this. Pretty standard stuff. Whatever. Sure, but what this does is because you can add a magazine, something like a long magazine or like the CC Land magazine, while these kind of parts come back here for the attachment on the legs, and it can help to hold it up, it's still, especially with the CC Land magazine, may want to kind of go backwards a little bit. This helps out a ton, gives you more support, and kind of just helps to support magazines in general. So pretty nice. And then there's barrel mode. Okay, so barrel mode, I don't even know where to begin with barrel mode. In my original review, I said it was not the best. I said it was actually the worst mode. I said it was okay though, but for this specific core, with power hold parts, this is the best mode. So let me go ahead and show you why Arrow barrel mode is just absolutely ridiculous for this guy. So I'm going to go ahead, of course, just put this guy back to his normal version. I don't know why I said it like that, but alright. Put these parts kind of back to their normal version with these extra parts sticking outwards. And put them on the hands to go forward like this. And then, of course, underneath for that part. Okay. And here's Arrow barrel mode. So, why did I say Arrow barrel mode is the best? Is it because it adds more accuracy or helps you line up your shots even better? No, not at all. So what this does is basically when you shoot the Bottleman, the hold parts kind of expand outward a little bit. You can see it on the arms as well, and one thing you could do with Bottleman, if you want to sometimes, you can kind of press these parts inward to kind of keep them from expanding outwards to kind of give you a stronger shot. I feel like it's a little bit harder to do on Arrowcider because these arms are a little bit like small and you have to like come out awkwardly on this thing to push them in. But what Arrow barrel mode does is these parts come outward more, and it's actually this part down here that holds these parts together, and it kind of makes us not really move out as much. Basically what that does is it gives you an even stronger shot. It's like an emblem charge gimmick basically, so yeah, this thing will hold everything in place and just makes you shoot extremely strong. So basically you have a specialized power gimmick on this thing, effectively, while also getting some control elements in here, and you can have a magazine. It's basically a really strong power type, plus a couple extra control gimmicks that actually has cap capacity. This thing is absolutely busted, I'm just saying right now. If you're a collector, this thing's just kind of whatever, kind of the same deal as the blue Earth Roller, but if you want something to use, This, in my opinion, is the best Bottleman to buy. So, yeah. Moving on, finally, to actually the new Bottleman in this set, which is kind of weird to do this one in the middle, but there's a recolor of it in this set, and it just kind of is a weird thing. We have Valhas DX. This is actually considered a common Bottleman, interestingly. But yes, it is a brand new Bottleman, unique to this set, kind of. I'll get into that in a second. It does look very nice, though. I thought this was actually going to be more of a normal white, but it's a little bit more of a light gray, which I think just works so well for this thing. So, yeah, this thing is just so nice. I really like the colors on this. However, there's a big difference between my idea of, my ideas on this guy for collection and usage. For collection, this thing is really nice to have. It is a unique Bottleman. So if you are wanting to get kind of every mainline unique Bottleman, this is one that I would definitely recommend picking up. To complete the set anyway. However, that's really about it, because in terms of usage, this thing, in my opinion, just does not really know what it wants to be. So it actually reuses a lot of Ten Satan's parts. The arms, the legs, and also the, just sticker want to come off there, anyway. And also the trigger, they're all from Ten Satan DX. The head is brand new, but like really, I guess it kind of is like a sight, but not a very good one. And then the core, it is a control core, you got the barrel there, but it has speed type hold parts. I'd argue speed type hold parts are a little bit better than control type hold parts, and they're still pretty accurate. You add a barrel onto this thing. It's maybe a slightly better control type, but like it's not really that noticeable in my opinion. And when you have something like, blue Earth Roller, which is just way better in my opinion, for a core, I don't think this thing really has a whole lot of use. And it does try to kind of mix all of these types together, and in my opinion, it just becomes a little bit too neutral and doesn't really know what it wants to be. Again, the speed element of this guy is just the hold parts, which again doesn't really do a whole lot for me. The control gimmicks, I guess this is kind of a sight, but like who cares? The barrel works, but like, again, it just feels like a control type in that way. But it has the power gimmick, of course, of boost shots. By the way, one other thing to note. These caps here, they're nice for design, but if you are planning on using this guy, take these out. It makes this grip terrible because these caps just slide out. And also you have to really grab around it, which I know for me is fine because I have big hands, but for a lot of people, they might not like that. So just noting that right now. But anyway, the actual boost gimmick though, where you kind of push forward to get a stronger shot, is not the best in this guy. And while the speed gimmicks of this thing, again, they're barely a thing. So it's mainly just a control power type. And while you can kind of choose between control and power, they don't go together like they do with Earth Roller DX, with the blue one, where you have stronger shots, but with more control. With this, if you try to do a boost shot with the barrel attached, because by the way, if you don't have a barrel attached, it's definitely less accurate, and a boost shot is like kind of strong. It's like decently strong, but Ten Satan's just better for it. And then just shooting neutrally, I guess, gives you more control, but it's like kind of just whatever. If you have a barrel on this thing, just doing kind of a standard, regular, in-place shot, just, not moving it, it just works as maybe a just very, very slightly more powerful control type. But when you move it forward to shoot, you definitely get a little bit more power on this thing. I would say it gets at least a little bit closer to the blue Earth Roller, but I don't think it matches it. And also, you definitely lose out on some control because, well, you're moving forward. And while you can maybe stay pretty straight, if you even just slightly veer off course, you might be losing out on some accuracy, and because you are moving the Bottleman, that definitely becomes a lot more likely. So I don't think that the control and power gimmicks work together too well. You can, of course, decide to, switch, where maybe one shot you'll, stay planted for, but then another one you maybe want to go back to moving for a stronger shot, then maybe choose when you want to use them. And that works all fine and well, but like you could also do that with 10 Satan and you just get more power out of it, maybe less accuracy, but it's accurate enough, honestly. I don't think that these gimmicks really work well enough together to justify that. And when you're having to switch between, control or power, this guy just does both at the same time. So, in my opinion, it's not very good. That said, though, for a collector's item, again, this thing, it's such a nice looking Bottleman. I really like how this thing looks. But I had to be at least pretty fair to this thing on its usage, at the very least. Interestingly, you also get a golden version, which is considered like the rare Bottleman of the set. This is not considered the main version of Valhas DX, but it's the rare version. I don't know why they did that, but yeah. So here's the gold version. It functions the exact same. I'm not really going to go over this guy again, because again, it's the same Bottleman. Although it does look really nice. I still prefer the original, honestly, to this guy, but yeah. It's still cool, nonetheless. However, I will say, in terms of, like, usage, it is the same. But for collectors, I would say, honestly, I think this one's better for collection. Because, like, here's the thing, right? This is the, rare version. But this is, like, the original one that you see in the show. And I don't know about anyone else, but I'd rather have the anime-accurate original version of a Bottleman rather than a recolor, rare or not. And it's not like a lottery recolor that's, like, ridiculously hard to get either. It's just kind of a random collection recolor in literally the same exact random collection as this guy anyway, so yeah. I would argue it's less interesting for collectors, but it is still kind of a collector's item. It's, considered to be rare, I guess, so yeah, sure, why not? And then, lastly, we have Bottle Wyvern DX, based on a Super Beat'em called Wild Wyvern. So here it is. Does look really cool. And it is, of course, using Doc Papillon DX as a kind of base model. So there you go. So, okay. Bottle Wyvern. Very nice to have. It's another nice, anniversary item. It's our second one. So as a collector's item, I think this is a very, very good collector's item. Well, I don't know if I'd say it has the same level of, collector's value as, say, a new mainline Bottleman. It is definitely right there, and for some people who are maybe very into Beat'em or very just into getting these anniversary type things, this might be on par or even more exciting than something brand new, like Valhas DX, for example, although Valhas is pretty anyway, but yeah, still. So, in terms of collector's value, I think this is a very good Bottleman. However, in terms of usage, this is where we get a little bit more interesting, because it is a Doc Papillon armor set. It is the same as Doc Papillon DX, which, by the way, phenomenal Bottleman. And the armor set is very good, because you have the ring trigger, which helps to improve speed. Also, these kind of hooks, you have the 3 of them. They have 8 different places that they can go. 1, 2, 3, 4, where this one is. 5 on the head. 6 and 7 underneath in the arms, and then 8 on the back of the trigger here. So you can customize where you want to put these things at to kind of have a good one-handed grip, or just, maybe use it for other stuff, whatever. So it is nice nonetheless. I do like having them. And yeah, it does work well for one-handed shots. Again, ring trigger, very nice. So good armor set if you don't have Doc Papillon DX, otherwise it's just kind of a repeat. However, the core. This is a speed-type core with control-type hold parts. This is probably the one time where control-type hold parts actually have some merit. While I still personally prefer the regular speed-type cores, maybe this has a little bit less resistance, so maybe you could argue it fires faster. But I'm going to be honest, at the same time, I feel like when you're trying to really rapid-fire this, I feel like maybe the potential slightly better speed of this, you know, it just doesn't make up for the loss in power. There's not like a ton of extra power from speed types, but I just think when you're trying to rapid fire this thing, they come out really weak in my opinion. And the rapid firing, to me at least, is just not better enough to a regular speed core to really justify using it. So I don't think it's all that crazy. So yeah. Plus, you also do get this guy in the set, although this to me is more of a power type that has cap capacity than a speed type. But again, you have that, you have regular speed types. I don't think that this really gets above the original Black Papillon. However, if you don't have Black Papillon DX, again, we're arguing over something really small here. It's not that big of a deal to which is better. They're both very similar. So if you don't have Black Papillon, this is a perfectly good replacement for it. Although I almost wonder that because it's an anniversary bead one, maybe they don't want you to use it as much. Maybe that's why they give it probably the worst core. I don't know, maybe I'm reaching here. Although, yeah, with that said though, you do actually get all types of kind of regular cores in like a dual, like kind of a dual type sense anyway. Obviously there's like double shot cores like from Arrowcider DX. That's not really a normal core though. You could also argue that there are 6 types of cores that you could make with that. Obviously power type cores with speed or control hold parts, but why would you do that? Then they just are power, no, not power, speed or control types with no attachments. So, good call on not making those. Although maybe some of the more unique power type cores could eventually see some of those, like, you know, speed type hold parts, for example. But yeah. But yeah, nothing really else to say about Bottle Wyvern, other than it's, you know, a cool collector's item, and of course, pretty good if you don't have Papillon DX. Otherwise, it's maybe very, very slightly worse, but it's not that big of a deal, honestly. Anyways, let me just go ahead and grab all of these guys to give a nice little shot of. It's not going to be a very pretty shot, not going to lie, but I'll try. So anyway. I'll tell you, that's good enough, right? We could all live with this. Anyway, I don't know, I didn't really need to do that, but anyway. So, overall, the random collection, how good is it, just as a whole? For collector's value, I would say if you are interested in getting some of these dual type cores, this is a really good set then. Great to buy a full set of. However, if you are only interested in certain things, then obviously Valhas DX, technically a brand new Bottleman. So I would recommend getting that. Also, Bottle Wyvern is also pretty good to get because, you know, it is an anniversary Bottleman based on Wild Wyvern. And potentially the Gold Valhas if you're interested in kind of getting something rare. Otherwise, maybe skip. If you don't cover the dual cores at all, these two probably worth skipping as well. However, if you are looking for some Bottleman to use, I could not recommend a full set of this thing. For these two, they're just very neutral, and if you want the boost gimmick, Ten Satan exists, and it's a lot cheaper because it's just a single Bottleman. For this guy, for usage, it's pretty good, but again, Papillon DX exists, and it's cheaper, so for usage, I would say those, you know, original versions are better. But these two guys are very, very good to use. Earth Roller DX has a really nice core, and it's just better than the original Earth Roller, so pretty nice. And this guy, if you're using Bottleman and actually want to like mess around with them, this is almost a must-have. Red Arrowcider, in my opinion, is just the strongest Bottleman out right now because of what it could do. So yeah, no, this is a really good set overall. Way, way better than the first random collection. That was, in my opinion, a pretty big dud. Especially just for usage and stuff. And I wasn't a big fan of it, but they really upped their game here. And I feel like if whether or not you're like a collector or just kind of someone who likes to play with them, there's something for everyone here, which is really nice. Even if maybe you don't want a full set, there's at least stuff here that you might want to get and pick certain things up from this random collection. So yeah, I do think it's really, really nice. And again, I would recommend getting some stuff from here, regardless of what kind of person you are with Bottleman. So yeah, that's basically everything I have to say about this random collection. It is very nice. I actually like this random collection quite a bit. It is just so much better than the first one. So yeah, pretty good. And that's basically all I have to say without repeating myself. Probably already have, but oh well. But anyways, that's all for this video, so thanks for watching, and so bye.